Good afternoon, folks. I've been thinking a lot since the horrific terrorist attack in Israel of how it would affect the coming political season. It's what I do. I'm in politics. I am deeply concerned and have worked against Trump for 8 years now. And I wondered immediately how deep the Republican Party rot would go, how bad it would be, how much they would try to exploit this politically. And I was not disappointed. They immediately sank to the bottom and proceeded to order up an industrial drilling machine and dig deeper. Um, the lies of the $6 billion, the lies that Biden was taking no action over the weekend, the lies that the president didn't care, and that only Trump and only the Republicans were the true allies of Israel. It was all put to the lie, and quickly. And I want to talk about the stakes for a second of what we're facing in the next year. There is a world around us where there are hostile actors, where there is an axis, if you will, of hostile nations. And in the center of that matrix is Russia. If you don't believe and understand yet that Russia, Hamas, Iran, China represent different flavors of authoritarianism and government by terror, you're mistaken. This is the long fight. This is the big picture. This is the world we face that looms ahead of us in the coming years. And I want to say this about the president. Joe Biden is old. He's an old man. He's an old man. But I'm turning 60 in about a month. And I have a deeper appreciation than I ever have for the benefits of experience and mileage and wisdom and clarity. And the president this week has shown over and over again wisdom and experience and clarity. He took his speech that was prepared by his staff, and staffs are always cautious when they write a speech about the Hamas terror attacks, and he struck out all the qualifiers. He struck out all the weak words. He struck out all the weak phrases. He was clear. He articulated that America will stand by our ally, that there is no excuse for what Hamas did. There is no context, no reason, no background, no backstory, no history that excuses decapitating children. There is no suffering that excuses the murder of children, the kidnapping and murder and rape of women and children. Innocent civilians, absolutely innocent civilians. And this is the kind of challenge that no one wants to face. No president wants to have this moment. No president wants the 9/11. No president wants the international crisis like this, because there's always a chance of failure. But what did the president do? What did President Biden do this week? He was clear. He was sharp. He understood the stakes. He laid them out clearly. He recognizes that Israel, like Ukraine, our allies in this world, have a position of absolute responsibility and duty to defend themselves. And the great play on the Republican right and the Putin government, and like there's much of a difference these days, was to say, oh, well, now America will pull out of Ukraine and they'll have to focus all their effort on Israel. And Biden just rolled right over it. He said, no, we can walk and chew gum. We can move forward and we can do both these things. And frankly, we must do both these things because both of these things are vital. If you have a Vladimir Putin in the world, he will continue to eat and eat and eat away at Europe until it is gone. If you allow terror to dictate the lives in the Middle East, and the use of indiscriminate violence against civilians and children, you will get more of it. And there's no equivalence between Hamas and Israel. There's no equivalence between Hamas and the Palestinians. And frankly, if you care about the fate of the Palestinian people, you should want every single member of Hamas shot dead. You should want every single member of Hamas absolutely tracked down and killed. If you believe in the Palestinian cause, as so many American leftists have claimed in the last few days, then you should want the cancerous terror in the center of it to be pursued and eliminated. And the president made that case. Look, this is a long fight. And this isn't even just about the presidential election, but I think you saw this week in Joe Biden a president who understood the role of the office, the power of the office, and the role an America that inspires and leads the world can play. Donald Trump's America was constantly trying to turn NATO into a protection racket and to turn American resolve into something that was for sale to either the highest bidder or whoever in the foreign dictators club of the month he had fallen in love with. And that's not this president. Joe Biden is turning out to be a strong foreign policy president in the greatest tradition of both parties. And I think there's going to be a reconsideration of the world we live in. This isn't some election where the luxury of an easy choice is presented to you. But it is an easy choice when you look at the context of Donald Trump's statements last night, when you look at the context of Donald Trump's behavior in his speeches and remarks since this attack, and in general. But this is a president who loves his country, who believes in America's role in the world as a strong ally and a good friend, who believes that we should put the idea of child murder by terrorists not only in the rearview mirror, but in our sights. And I want to say this also about the Republicans. There have been a lot of Republicans who have decided they're going to play the clicks and Fox News game about this attack. And frankly, right now, we're still getting clarity on it, but there clearly may be American hostages held by Hezbollah and by Hamas, and by that point, by Iran at the end of the day. This is an enormous and important and consequential moment. And if a Republican were president and Democrats were saying the same things, they would be screaming bloody murder from the rooftops. They would be losing their damn minds. I would encourage my former Republican colleagues to think for just 1 minute that if you believe in peace in the Middle East and you believe in a strong Israel and you believe in recovering American hostages and avenging the deaths and the murder of American citizens, then maybe you ought to get behind your president for once. Just for once. Just give it a try. Thanks, folks.